Right, today we are looking at Sol 2029, and we have this image which was just published on the JPL website yesterday, I think, and we have some crazy looking rocks in the foreground, which are natural. This larger one here seems to have lots of interesting structures in it, almost like there's kind of fossilized plants or kind of underwater plants that are fossilized to it. Not really sure. It's interesting. It's got some very interesting shapes and things in it. So that may be some fossils there. But the thing that caught my eye was this thing over here. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a very small figure stood here. Now, I'm not saying this is an alien. I'm not saying this is anything living. And it may not even be a figure, but when you look at it more closely, you may think otherwise. Here's the completely raw clip. It's got that muddy, out of focus effect like most of these images have. We got this darker rock behind, and we got a figure just here, okay? And there's a point to it there, what looks like an arm coming up here, and another arm here, and 2 feet, one there and one there. Legs and what looks like a robe or something. Now, I could be completely wrong here. This may actually be the remains of a petrified tree trunk or plant that is actually petrified over tens of thousands of years and gone hard and encrusted. So it may not be what I think it is. But also, if you look really carefully, we have a square object here. Now, some of this is pixelation, but that is a very, very clear right angle here, which is odd. And there's also a square object here. Now, I appreciate you can't see that very well, so I'm going to show you enhanced contrast and slightly enhanced image, not much. That's been color corrected, so it's gone blue, and I've turned up the contrast and brightened it. Now you can see this square, just that right angle, perfect right angle just there. And there's a box here. See that? A square box. Now it looks a bit out of focus. Let's go back a little bit to there, and hopefully you can see that more clearly. Okay? There's like a rock here with a square box on it here, with something around it, like a chest almost. There's like a kind of chest. But there's a very, very square bit. Now, I haven't made that rectangular shape. It's in the raw image. You can actually see it in the raw image. Let's go back to the raw image to make sure. There it is. I haven't added it in at all. It's already there, as is this one. Now, are those actually really there, or is this evidence of image tampering? Because people at JPL do often block stuff out, and they use a kind of square kind of blur tool or some kind of tool on. They probably use Photoshop, unlike me. I don't use Photoshop. I'm going to flip through. I did a couple of different versions of this because I wasn't sure of the actual shape, because it seems like it may be joined or just behind this square, this rectangular chest-like object here. You've got a weird kind of chest-like thing there. And it kind of comes up and round. You've got a pointy hat type shape. You've got a head. Zoom in a bit, you can actually see what looks like a face in there, although it's tiny. Now the problem is, when you have an out of focus low res image like this, sometimes it's hard to tell exactly what's joined to what and what's in front and what's behind. So, but it does look like he's kind of stood right next to this thing, and there's a kind of rock right to this side as well, which may be joined or going just behind the figure or whatever it is, figurine. That's probably the most realistic shape, because this does look like a rectangular object. You can see a rectangular angle there as well, and it comes to there, and you've got a really clean rectangle inside, and really odd. I don't know what that is. It looks like, to me, it looks like a chest of some sort, some kind of chest. And this looks like a figurine. Now, it may just be a coincidence that this looks like a person wearing a pointed hat. If you get in closer, you can actually see what look like boots here, like 2 feet, and a boot there and a boot there, and a sort of hand curling over here. It reminded me of Gandalf with that sort of crazy kind of pointed hat, like a wizard, which is just nuts. But could this just be a case of pareidolia? Yes, it could. I absolutely think it can. But even in the basic enhancement, you can see that sticking up really quite clearly. But there are other kind of strange pointed things behind it, so this may be natural. These may have just eroded in a strange way. This may have been underwater in the lake, and a lot of this could actually be coral. Different types of coral have kind of finger-like structures that stick up, like we have here. And of course they will erode over time and smooth down a bit, because coral is usually quite rough. So who knows, but it was the rectangular thing next to it which actually, to me, also made me think that this may be something, because nature doesn't make perfect rectangles like this. And in the enhanced clip, I've brightened it quite a lot there, you can see. I don't know if you can see that better. That's the most accurate shape, I think, from what I can tell in the image. It did remind me, actually, of a video I did last year, which is on my channel, which is called Mars Statue Figure in Curiosity Rover Image, February the 16th. A number of people published this. I wasn't the only person to spot it. I think I was the first to publish it. But other people spotted it and came to a similar conclusion, which is cool. It's always nice to have other people confirm what you're seeing and prove that it's not all just pareidolia. This is also a figurine, or looks to be one, which is also holding something. Now, this is a similar size, probably about, I don't know, this is more like 4 inches or 5 inches, whereas the one I just showed you is probably only 2 or 3 inches. There's the enhancement. You can see a face here with a little mouth and a nose, and an eye, and a kind of weird hat, an arm coming around here, and it's almost like someone holding a little box. There's a hand here, that light thing there is a hand, or what appears to be. Is in the sitting position, sat down and holding a kind of light coloured object. Really cool, I thought that was. This looks like a figurine, and there's next to it a bit kind of a weird kind of statue here. If you can see that, it's there with 2 eyes and a nose and a mouth. That's a bit rough. It was heavily damaged, as a lot of these things are badly damaged. So you've got to enhance them, and of course we got low res out of focus images, which are difficult to interpret sometimes. But you do get used to it. I've been doing this for over 5 years now, and you do get used to these images. You've got to kind of let your eyes adjust to them and look at it slowly. Don't rush through it. If you rush through these images, you can't focus properly because of the weird sort of orange filter they use. It makes everything look the same, like camouflage, and difficult to make out objects. And luckily with this one, we had a shadowy dark rock behind it to make it show up. So that was it. And if you find anything similar on Mars or on the Moon or anything like that, send it to me here at ArtAlienTV FB on Facebook. This will let you can also send stuff by email, which you can get from my About page. You can get my email from here. There's my email there, okay? So you can get it from there. But if you want to send large images, large format images like pings or bitmaps or anything like that, which are like satellite images, you can send much larger images via Facebook. I think you can send stuff up to 100 megabytes, which is pretty good. Now, my email will only support a few meg here and there, and it overloads very, very quickly, and I'm getting absolutely inundated with stuff. So if you have large stuff, send it via Facebook. If you've got just small clips or links, send them via email. But please make sure you have the original image link when you send a clip, okay? Because a lot of people don't send the image link, and I have to email them back and say where's the link. So there we have it. So there are lots of statues on Mars, and incidentally, there, that's pretty cool. When you see it from that distance, it looks quite clear. And luckily with this one, it had a dark rock behind it as well to outline it. Incidentally, I was going back over this one, and some people thought this Zeus statue, which I reconstructed here, was actually a real petrified head. Well, I don't think it is. Here's the reconstruction. If you look carefully below it, here, you have a plinth. In other words, there's a square block. Then, actually, what I'll do, I'll put that in here. Hang on. I'll put it into here, and I'll actually highlight it for you so you can see exactly what I mean. Now, you've got the statue here. Now, this has been reconstructed. I've reconstructed the left side of the face here. But look below. It comes round here. And you have this here. And here it kind of comes out like this. Well, this bit may be sticking out, not really sure. But it comes to there, and this comes along here. Like that. So that is actually mounted on an actual kind of plinth, like a stand. And also another thing I didn't point out, which one or two people did mention in the comments, is this thing right next to it. This thing here may, or may not have been, attached to this head and broken off. Don't know. like wings almost, like Apollo or something like that. You know, who knows? It's weird either way. It almost kind of looks like a couple. It could just be a couple of random rocks, or it's kind of almost shaped like a pelvic bone or something, like a pelvis. But I don't know. It's probably just random. But to me, it's also the exact same luminosity as this. If you look at the raw image as well, so it almost looks like it's broken off the top of here, and then kind of fallen off there. Who knows? Because that plinth thing. It's definitely there. You can see it there. It's partially obscured there, but it comes right round. So there we are. I'll put a couple of more clips of the figurine back in at the end there. So do check out my playlists. I've got statues and carved artifacts now. I've got about 120 videos just on that subject, and there are many clear statuettes and figurines and large statues, small statues. Some are just heads, some are almost complete like this one. Many of them are broken, many of them are in very good condition, and I think a lot of them were actual burial figures or carvings that you would have on the grave or burial site or something like that, like a tomb. And that's maybe what we're looking at today with this other thing. So clips coming up now. Please subscribe and like if you haven't already, and share it on social media. Thanks for watching. See you soon.